Humans have been looking for the key to eternal life for centuries. From the first emperor of China who reportedly ingested mercury pills to various European explorers searching for the fabled fountain of youth, it seems that as humans aren't really satisfied with the time allotted to us here on Earth. Animals, however, seem to have a better grasp at immortality than we have. Today we're going to take a look at 10 animals who can live forever. Just to clarify, we're not saying that these animals are completely immortal, but rather have the chance to, that is if they aren't eaten by predators or succumb to sickness. Number 1, though, is an entirely different story, and quite possibly is the very definition of immortality, so watch out for that one. With all that said and done, let's begin, shall we? Number 10. The Aldabra Giant Tortoise. We're starting off this list with an animal that, although not quite immortal by definition, when compared to us humans, practically lives forever. The Aldabra giant tortoise is a giant species of tortoise native to the Aldabra Islands in the Indian Ocean. It is one of the largest species of tortoise on the planet, and is also one of the world's longest living animals, with one Aldabra giant tortoise individual reaching the grand old age of 255 years old. They are very slow-growing reptiles, and often do not reach sexual maturity until they are between 20 and 30 years old. Although some individuals have been known to live for more than 250 years, scientists actually think they can easily double that number if left alone. Unfortunately, us meddling humans have encroached into their habitat. We've done some pretty bad things, like hunted them down, downsized their habitat, and introduced pathogens that make them sick. Fortunately, they are now a protected species, and measures have been put up to make sure they live their long, slow-moving lives at peace. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it really works. Number 9. Clams. Clams are just some of the most unassuming and, not to mention, some of the strangest animals on Earth. Who would have known that they would have the secret to immortality hidden inside their tough shells? Yes, certain species of clams are immortal or have extremely long lives. One species, for instance, has shown great resilience, and although they are regularly harvested for food, seems to defy the odds and just keep chugging on. The ocean quahog clam shows exceptional longevity. One specimen called Ming was estimated to live up to 507 years in the wild. One study found that in animals aged 4 to 192 years, antioxidant enzymes decline rapidly in the first 25 years. This includes the growth and sexual maturity stages, but afterwards remain stable for over 150 years. In addition, the level of oxidatively damaged proteins in the heart does not change significantly for up to 120 years of age. For real though, what does all that sciencey stuff mean? Well, in simpler terms, their physiology simply doesn't allow them to age after a certain point, keeping them forever young, at least in a clam's point of view. Number 8. Sea sponges. Contrary to what some people think, sponges are also animals, although they are always mistakenly categorized as plants. They are all immobile aquatic animals, and some have the longest lifespan of any known animal. Scientists at the Max Planck Institute for Chemistry studied the skeleton of the glass sponge found in the East China Sea and discovered that it was more than 11,000 years old. The thing is, these glass sponges can live way longer and rarely die of natural causes. This is because of one evolutionary advantage that this animal has. They are probably the most adaptable creature on Earth. Sponges can easily remold themselves according to their environment, giving them the ability to survive in even the most inhospitable conditions. I'm not saying that the sponge can't die. They certainly can, especially when their habitat is irreversibly destroyed, or when they are predated upon. But remove human interaction as well as predation from the equation, these hardy creatures may just go on and live forever. Possibly in a pineapple under the sea. Number 7. The Planaria. Planaria, or flatworms, are one of the most ordinary looking of animals, yet beneath that slimy exterior lies something that we can only call a superpower, one that we thought only possible within the pages of a comic book, a healing factor so powerful that it rivals that of Wolverine. Researchers from the University of Nottingham have demonstrated how a species of flatworm overcomes the aging process to be potentially immortal. Planarian worms have amazed scientists with their apparently limitless ability to regenerate. Researchers have been studying their ability to replace aged or damaged tissues and cells in a bid to understand the mechanisms underlying their longevity. To better understand the flatworm's immortality, we need to understand first how cells regenerate in humans and other life forms. Usually when stem cells divide to heal wounds or during reproduction or for growth, they start to show signs of aging. This means that the stem cells are no longer able to divide and so become less able to replace exhausted specialized cells in the tissues of our bodies. Our aging skin is perhaps the most visible example of this effect. Planarian worms and their stem cells are somehow able to avoid the aging process and to keep their cells dividing for an indefinite period of time. Number 6. The jellyfish. While some animals on this list become immortal because they basically stop the aging process after a certain point in their lives, some jellyfish approach the matter very differently. Instead of freezing the aging process, immortal jellyfish does what no other animal can do. It turns itself into a baby. The immortal jellyfish was observed by scientists to have the ability to regenerate its cells back to their original state and grow them again. In other words, this jellyfish, as its name suggests, can have infinite lives. This event occurs when something disadvantageous happens to the jellyfish, like when it senses danger or is being starved. The jellyfish simply attaches itself onto a surface, then transforms back into its polyp stage. Their immortality is not perfect though, as this ability only manifests itself after they reach sexual maturation. They can always be eaten by predators or encounter a disease while in their polyp stage. Number 5. Tardigrades. If you are a fan of the channel, I'm pretty sure you've seen this animal pop up in one of our many videos. Often in the number 1 spot, but not today though. Also known by the cuddlier name of water bears, they can survive basically everything you can subject them to, and that includes freezing them. To start with, some tardigrades can survive being frozen to negative 359 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 273 degrees Celsius. But why stop there? They can also survive being boiled, nuked, exposed to extreme pressures, and launched into the vacuum of space. Yes, you heard me right. These guys went to space without a spacesuit and survived, even the re-entry. Before you ask, no, NASA didn't send them there on purpose. They hitched a ride on the Endeavour in 2011. As we said, they're virtually immortal. So what's their secret? While there have been suggestions of the extraterrestrial kind, scientists believe the tiny invertebrates survive by entering a death-like dehydrated state known as cryptobiosis. But then again, scientists have estimated that these guys can die of old age, reaching the relatively young age of 100 years old. Well, young relative to the other animals on this list. But then again, for being so indestructible, this list would not be complete without the tardigrade. Number 4. Bdelloids. Bdelloids are freshwater zooplankton, microscopic animals that live everywhere where there is fresh water. And when I say everywhere, I really mean everywhere. These guys are considered immortal because of one trait. They can survive literally everything that you can throw at them. They've even been found in sewage treatment tanks. They can also survive nuclear blasts, extremes of temperature, and even being taken out of water. The longest time one survived in a dry environment is 9 years. For years, scientists have been befuddled by this animal's longevity. Then a recent study revealed something truly amazing. This animal has the ability to absorb the traits of other creatures, much like Rogue in the X-Men comics. Well, they don't literally absorb other creatures' powers or traits or memories like Rogue does. Bdelloids actually steal genetic material from other creatures such as fungi, bacteria, and plants. In fact, 10% of the Bdelloids' active genes have been stolen from other species, and scientists think that this is the reason behind their immortality. So less Rogue from X-Men and more Cell from Dragon Ball Z. Number 3. The tree weta. Wetas are a grasshopper-like insect that can only be found in New Zealand. They come in many different varieties, from the giant weta, a carrot-loving hellspawn as big as a gerbil and as heavy as a mouse, to a significantly smaller tree weta. But just because it's smaller doesn't mean it's any less of a weta. In fact, the tree weta may be the most amazing insect you've ever seen. That is because tree wetas are virtually immortal, as are many other things on this list. Tree wetas are also called zombie bugs for a reason. They can actually come back from the dead, literally. First off, they have a special protein in their blood that prevents it from freezing under extremely low temperatures. That's all well and good, but it means nothing if the heart and the brain of the animal gets frostbite. This is where the weta's other ability comes into play. Upon being frozen, their brains and their hearts die, but after being thawed, they begin to function again as if nothing happened. This amazing ability is currently being studied, and scientists are hopeful they can replicate the same phenomenon in humans to be used for a myriad of applications, predominantly deep space travel. Now it's time for the day's best pick. Now, due to recent global events, I've been watching a lot of Dragon Ball Z lately. Okay, actually, I watch a lot of it in general, even if there isn't a pandemic going on. Regardless, this is today's best pick, and it's due to its ability to regenerate lost body parts, which reminds me a lot of Piccolo, or, again, Cell. The thing is, does this ability make it immortal? Number 2. Salamanders. Salamanders have the amazing ability of regrowing lost body parts. If they lose or damage a limb after being attacked by a predator, they will slowly grow the damaged area back. Some salamander species also have a defensive mechanism when under attack that sees their tail fall off and continue wriggling in order to give themselves a chance of escape. The tail that is left also grows back over time. This amazing ability, however, doesn't make them immortal. It just makes sure that salamanders wouldn't have to go through life with a missing limb, but they can't live forever. But for a certain species of salamander, that is, this same ability allows them to have an unusually long lifespan. Blind salamanders live at least as long as most people. Adults of these species live nearly 69 years on average, with a predicted maximum age of more than 100 years, 3 times longer than related species. Number 1. The Hydra. The Hydra is a serpent-like creature in Greek mythology. It had many heads, most accounts say 9, one of them being immortal. Also, if one manages to cut off one of the mortal heads, 2 new ones will grow to take its place. Although this creature only exists in mythology, there is actually one creature that, although not a serpent, has almost the same ability of the mythological creature, earning it the same name. Hydra are a group of invertebrates that look like tiny tubes with tentacles protruding off one end. They grow only about 0.4 inches long and eat even tinier aquatic animals. According to studies, the Hydra is one of the few animals that does not show any signs of deterioration with age. Being able to continuously divide and regenerate new body cells, Hydras can basically keep themselves young for long periods of time, even until forever. Did we leave any immortal animals out? Let us know in the comment section down below. Want to watch more videos about amazing animals? Click on any of the videos you see on your screen. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody.